Now what are you doing? You want to let me in on a joke here? Oh, it's no joke, Johnny. I'm just figuring out in my head the exact way we need Calgary and Winnipeg's remaining schedule to go so the Preds can sneak attack and get that final playoff spot. Everybody's hands go up, way up, as the Nashville Predators defeat the Vegas Golden Knights 3-2 in overtime Tuesday night inside Bridgestone Arena. The Preds get a huge 2 points in a game they looked broken in after having led 2-0 at one point and then allowing two unanswered goals, being outplayed in large portions of the game by a much better statistically Vegas Golden Knights team. And then somehow in the fourth period, the kids who are leading this team right now pull victory from the jaws of defeat and keep this team, with 5 games left to go, within striking distance of a playoff spot. Both the Preds and the Vegas Golden Knights had played on Monday coming to this game, both teams having to travel. So naturally, both teams would go with the opposite goalie in net that they had played with on Monday. Vegas would go with Jonathan Quick, and the Preds would go with their backup Kevin Lankinen. Having traveled the night before, these two teams feeling each other out, getting their feet under them. And side note, can I just get this off of my chest early and just talk about the game the rest of the way? This is why I hate watching games on ESPN+. Yeah, sometimes I get stuck with the alternate feed because NHL Center Ice in Canada may give me only the teams the Preds are playing against, but I hate it when it's ESPN+. I don't know how many of you were watching who weren't in attendance who may have heard, ESPN kind of implied that the Preds overplay Saros because they were talking about playing Lankinen instead of Saros, when if they had actually paid somewhat attention to the Preds' schedule this year and did their homework, they would relay to the fans that this is a common practice by John Hines to not play Saros back-to-back. Kevin Lankinen is a capable backup. So don't imply on national TV, ESPN, that we're running UC Saros into the ground. Time passes in the first period as either team looks for a break. And it's Luke Evangelista from inside his own blue line who springs ahead. Tommy Novak, who's got Alex Pietrangelo with him, but Tommy Novak is able to shake him off. He goes on in on Jonathan Quick and backhands the puck as it goes up and over Jonathan Quick's glove. He's not able to snare it. It goes in the net. Preds open the scoring, now up 1-0. 8.5 minutes into the game, Nashville would earn the first power play as Howden gets called for Kevin Gravel. And mind you, the Preds are not able to score. And they only generate 1 shot on goal. But they do generate pressure and chances that would lead to something a little later. And just a little bit after that, Preds still getting the mojo working, getting some chances. The Preds have a 2-on-1. Afanasyev so close to scoring his first career NHL goal. He gets a shot off, but it can't be quick. But you can feel the wheels turning for the Preds. Just over 7 minutes left to go in the first period, Ivan Barbasev would get called for holding Tyson Barrie, sending the Preds right back to the power play. On the ensuing power play, almost instantaneously in the first 10-20 seconds, the Preds are circling. They're not letting Vegas get the puck out. Follow the bouncing puck or else you'll miss it because eventually it winds right on Tommy Novak's stick. He punts it by Jonathan Quick before it can react. His second goal of the game. The Preds are up 2-0. Then later in the first period, near this latter half of it, if it wasn't for the fact that this game went to overtime, I probably would have called this game Kevin and the Killers. Because just a little over 5 minutes left to go in the first, in a matter of 14 seconds, Rasmus Asfin and Ryan McDonough would each go to the penalty box for separate penalties, making the Preds have to kill a 1 minute and 46 second 5-on-3. And on that 5-on-3, Coach John Hines elects to go with Kevin Gravel and Dante Fabro on defense, Colton Sissons the lone forward, and of course Kevin Lankinen in net. And for almost the majority of the 5-on-3 portion, the Preds can't clear it. They defend well. They can't get a whistle to change it up or clear the zone, but somehow the Preds stay calm. They do what their natural tendencies tell them to do. And with just a little bit over 10 seconds left to go in the 5-on-3, they finally get a whistle. They get a much appreciated round of applause, and eventually, after the initial face-off, after that 5-on-3 had almost be killed, they kill off both penalties, and the Preds can breathe a big sigh of relief. The final time in the first period ticks down, and the Preds lead miraculously after one period 2-0. Completely different tale of the tape in the second period, because early in the second period, after Ryan McDonagh misses a great chance to make it 3-0 Preds, after they had already had an initial 3-0 goal waved off because of Tyson Barrie putting it off of his skate late in the first period that I forgot to mention. Don't let me leave that out. When Ryan McDonagh beat Jonathan Quick but missed the net, it would seem like the Vegas show for that period alone, when Vegas would go on to outshoot the Preds 12-5 for the period as a whole. And both goals that Vegas would score in the second period, both by Alex Pietrangelo, were silly mistakes that the Preds, maybe with some more maturity in future seasons, will make up for and will be able to stop. The 2-1 goal, bad defensive breakdown, where Pietrangelo wasn't watched the entire time because he knew he was going to create a rebound for it to go off of Kevin Gravel and in to cut the Preds lead to 2-1. And then 6.5 or so left to go in the second period, Vegas pushing again. And the puck winds up on Alex Pietrangelo. He seems like he has all day. It's not Lankinen's fault at all for the 2 goals that went in my opinion. He's got to get help in front of him. Pietrangelo is able to pick a spot that's wide open that Lankinen can't get any part of his body or equipment on, and now this game is all tied at 2. And after the Preds had a 2-0 lead in this game and blew it and are now tied at 2 after 2, I'm getting flashbacks to the New Year's Eve game, which went to overtime, as you all remember, because we tied it late in the third period. But the one difference between that game and this game is this game's in Nashville, that game was in Vegas, and this game doesn't have all the firepower that that game has because they're all sitting on the injured list. Preds need some sort of response early in the third period, or it just feels like Vegas is going to dictate terms in the third period until they can finally get a goal and then nurse this game home and go back to Vegas, or whatever their schedule is. I haven't looked at it. I'm assuming this is the end of a road trip, with another 2 points. And it feels like that the Preds are trying to drag this out, seeing if they can wear Vegas down. Both of these teams, like I said, played Monday night, so they should be tired. Vegas a little bit more because they went to a shootout in Minnesota. The Preds just got their doors blown off of them, so hopefully they quit with some left in the tank for the stretch run in this game. We reached the last half of the third period. The puck winds up on Alex Pietrangelo's stick, looking for a hat trick, but he's robbed by Kevin Lankinen, who wants to will this team to win in UC Saros' place in this game, giving his number one netminder a well-deserved night off. Fast forward to about 4.5 left to go in the third period. Vegas is pressuring in the Preds zone, and the puck goes up in the air, and Lankinen tries to back up to gauge control of it, and he inadvertently, at least in my opinion from looking at it initially, knocks his net off, and oh great, the refs blow the whistle and call him for delay of game. That wasn't egregious. We've seen goalies in the history of the Preds franchise, either with them or in other games, whether or not the Preds were involved in, with goalies purposely push a net off. That wasn't egregiously done. And overall, goalies typically get away with it. So I don't know what the refs were looking for. So yeah, I felt a little intimidated considering the Preds' luck this season, taking penalties late in the game, that this one was going to cost them. But to their credit, the Preds bend and do not break. And this would be the last of the 3 power plays that Vegas would have. The Preds would kill off all 3. This game still tied at 2. And Wow, we're off to overtime. In overtime, seemingly for those who watched it, it looked like the Preds and Vegas both had chances to score. But if you look at the box score, the Preds outshot Vegas 2-0. So none of the Vegas chances actually went on net, especially the Eichel one. I thought he got something on it other than an offensive zone faceoff. Just over 2 minutes left to go in overtime. The Preds are threatening. Jonathan Marchessault gets called for holding Philip Tomasino. The ref sees it, gives the Preds the power play, and on the delayed call, the Preds try to do something, get the whistle, and initially right after the whistle, before the Preds can go on the power play, I think Jonathan Marchessault was a little ticked off that Philip Tomasino was embellishing it to make sure the Preds got the power play. Marchessault shot the puck after the whistle, which is a big no-no at Tomasino for good effort. In my opinion, it should have been a 5-on-3. But alas, at least Vegas is going to have 3 men, and Nashville, who's going to go on the power play, is going to have the advantage of 4-3. On the ensuing power play, just over 90 seconds now left to go in overtime. You've got Philip Tomasino to Jonathan Quick's left. Tyson Barrie playing quarterback at the point. Tommy Novak is over in this corner, and he gets the puck down to Cody Glass. Cody Glass is patient. He wants to make this right. He wants to end this game now. He's looking for the cross crease pass to Philip Tomasino for the one-time backdoor play, and Cody Glass gets the pass over to him, but on the way there, McNabb for Vegas, who's playing defense, doesn't see that the puck is pinpointed off of his skate past Jonathan Quick. It's in. The Preds win in overtime. 3-2. Cody Glass, against a team that drafted him and gave up on him, defeats his former team, making sure the Preds are not quite out of the playoff race yet as they walk off this game 3-2. Well. A roller coaster of emotions with this win, wasn't it? Up 2-0, thinking we're home and cool. Tied 2-2, thinking, oh, well, it was nice while it lasted. Then in overtime, just assuming that a much more skilled, much more experienced Vegas team was just going to walk us off. Well, these kids continue to show that, unlike Monday's result, most of the time, they have no quit. Quick side note, Carl Taylor better be getting a promotion within this system, and hopefully no other organization poaches him to be their head coach in the offseason, because he has done wonders with these kids. As for this game and how it affects the Preds in the standings, the Preds pull within idle Winnipeg by 3 points. Both of them have now played the same number of games. The Preds have used up that game in hand, and the Preds now pull within 1 point of Calgary, who the Preds have a game in hand against. Calgary, who lost to Chicago in regulation Tuesday night. Imagine that. The Blackhawks did the Preds a huge favor. Preds now don't play again until Thursday night when Carolina comes to town, before heading off on their last road trip of the season. Winnipeg on Saturday and Calgary next Monday. All 3 of those teams with 5 games or less left to go in the season, still battling it out for that last wildcard playoff spot. I think Seattle should be home and cool for wildcard spot number 1. And before Thursday's tilt against Carolina, oh, look at that. Calgary goes into Winnipeg tomorrow night. I think it's best if Preds Nation as a whole roots for Calgary to win that game tomorrow, preferably in regulation so Winnipeg doesn't get a point. Scoreboard watching is fun, isn't it? And not at all stressful. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. As always, click a like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really like it. You can find my social media by clicking on a channel name. Tell all your friends about Predemption. And in closing, Preds Nation, to channel a former WWE wrestler's catchphrase, don't stand back. Take that hurricane that is coming into Smashville Thursday head on.